Welcome back to Coffeehouse Convos, my weekly show where I talk about automotive news, events, and my opinions. This week is a big one. We're talking about Lithium Americas. But before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Pablo's Coffee. That's what's in this cup right here. This is also my second cup of coffee today. So, getting right into it, we are talking about Lithium Americas. So you might have heard a little bit about this Lithium Americas thing and the new lithium deposit that we discovered at Thacker Pass in Nevada. So Thacker Pass in Nevada is where the largest known sedimentary lithium resource is in the US. And this is different from other lithium sources around the world because this lithium source is within clay. So instead of rock and extracting rock from the ground and then having to separate the lithium from inside the rock, this lithium is within clay. And the company Lithium Americas expects $3.9 billion worth of lithium to be contained in this area. And the amount of lithium that's in the area could provide enough lithium for 1 million EVs every year. So I remember hearing about this lithium source last year and about it being a huge change in how we get our materials for EVs, because a lot of it is imported from other countries. But what's huge about this lithium deposit is that it's in Nevada, so it will be a giant source of lithium for EVs that is domestic to the US. So what I'm thinking is that it will drive down the costs of EVs and make them cheaper and more accessible. And it will also cut back the need for us to import from other countries. Further about Lithium Americas, they just received a $2.26 billion loan from the Department of Energy under the Advanced Technology Vehicles Manufacturing Loan Program for the construction of the processing facilities at Thacker Pass. So if the United States government is giving this plant almost $2.3 billion, you know that it's a big thing, and you know that it's gonna be huge for the economy in the US. Now, something else that is really interesting is that GM, General Motors, invested $650 million in Lithium Americas in exchange for the exclusive access to the first phase of lithium production. So all the lithium from the first phase is going to GM vehicles, which means Hummer, Chevy, GMC, they can promote a fully built in the US EV, including all the raw materials, and they'll be able to create vehicles that are lower cost compared to the competitors. And something tells me that since they have the exclusive rights to all this lithium that's domestic, they might be coming out with some new cars, hopefully something smaller than the Hummer and the Silverado EV, and less expensive, because the size of these new EVs is just ridiculous. So a small EV, some at entry level, some in the $30,000 range starting, that's what GM would have to do to completely win the market, in my opinion. And if I knew that all of the resources to create an EV was all sourced in the United States, you know that it's American jobs, you know that the money is going back to the American economy, I think it would push a lot of people who weren't thinking about EVs to buy an EV just because they know where all the parts are from. They know that it's not being imported from China or any other country. So overall, I think this move is really exciting, especially for the US economy, and especially for Nevada's economy and the surrounding towns in the Thacker Pass area. Now, I know some of the towns are a little bit nervous about the impact that this huge plant is going to have on their small towns because they don't have the housing necessary already. And now you're going to have thousands of workers moving in, needing housing. So it's going to be a strain on their economy, but overall I think it'll be a good thing. Except, people who live there who love this small town, they might not enjoy all these new people coming in. But on the other side, you have all these new jobs that are American jobs, probably pretty good, high-paying jobs. Now I also think that, and this is just a thought, but since this lithium deposit is within clay, I think the costs of extracting it will be less when you compare it to the lithium that is within rock. It'll be less wear and tear costs on the machines because clay is much more forgiving than just digging in rock. And I think it could be less intrusive or less devastating to the environment compared to mining out ore, like, lithium within rock. But I also find it interesting because this whole Lithium Americas project in Thacker Pass, Nevada is starting right now. It just started recently, which is also the same time that EV sales are starting to slow. So you're kind of in this situation where you don't know that by 2026, when they're getting close to finishing, if EVs will still be a high priority for the regular average consumer. It could also affect the price of lithium. If the demand for lithium, the demand for EVs declines, the price of lithium is going to decline as well. So, part of me thinks that this whole project could kind of have a backlash on the company because they're pricing the lithium as, $3.9, I think it was, $billion worth of lithium in this deposit. But you don't know that in a couple years, you don't know what's going to happen to the price of lithium or the demand for EVs in general. I've said in my previous episodes that I think it's silly for manufacturers to switch directly from internal combustion to fully electric vehicles. I think they're skipping the step, which is hybrid technology. I think companies, instead of going from gas engines to electric, they should focus more on their hybrid systems, which we've learned to create very efficient hybrid systems for vehicles. I'm not talking about Rivian or Tesla because they started as an EV and they're putting all their effort into their EV technology. I'm talking about things like GM and Jeep and these other brands that are just coming out with these EVs whenever they've been perfecting their engines and their hybrid systems for several years now. And especially like Jeep, Toyota, Honda, they're working on these hybrid systems or alternate fuels for internal combustion engines. And I feel like that's a better move. It's an uncertain future for EVs, I think. And it seems like the EV craze is kind of coming to a level. And then you can also get into the infrastructure. You don't need new infrastructure for a hybrid system because we already basically have what we need. But when you were switching from gas to electric, you need an entire new grid of charging stations. But if you go from the internal combustion to hybrid, then to EV, you're kind of phasing out that internal combustion engine. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. There's a lot to be said about Lithium Americas. I know they just split the company in between North America and South America, and there's still some weird things that they're partnered with other countries as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. There's a lot that goes into this. I just kind of talked about the basics. So let's move on to events. And for the events, I'm talking about Easter Jeep Safari. Easter Jeep Safari is this coming weekend. It is March 23rd through March 31st. If you don't know what Easter Jeep Safari is, check out some videos from years prior. Trail Recon always has awesome videos because he gets invited to these events and posts some really awesome videos. But Easter Jeep Safari is a Jeep event in Moab, Utah, where Jeep brings out their concept vehicles and just trail rides them and tests them for their off-road capabilities. Usually it's awesome vehicles. Last year they had a lot of Jeeps with the 392 V8, and I'm pretty sure that was before they came out with the 392 Wrangler, so they kind of teased that. They also have fully electric Wranglers that come out, and something tells me that they're gonna fully announce and reveal the new Jeep Recon EV at this event, because Jeep hasn't released official pictures of the Recon yet. Even though it's on their website, there's no pictures, and something tells me that the Easter Jeep Safari is the perfect place to do that. Easter Jeep Safari is definitely one of my favorite events of the year because Jeep comes out with such cool concept vehicles, and YouTubers like Trail Recon make great videos reviewing all the vehicles that's there. So I'm really looking forward to that channel, to see all the new vehicles and seeing what Jeep has to offer this year. I think it's going to be an exciting one. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the Coffeehouse Convos playlist. Last week I talked about the new Rivian vehicles that they announced and the surprise Rivian vehicle that they really revealed, and leave some ideas for future Coffeehouse Convos episodes. Next week I'll have a guest on the episode, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Peace.